Because you're calling out reflection me for many years, you wanted to argue with my validity as a whore because that's how much of a little ignorant pussy you had as a whore that seems and says like confused me as a little ignorant whore. Is that because you keep giving my life some other validity that you keep calling your fat little cunt Bible? Is that because you keep calling your fat little ignorant pussy? Like that's not my issue. That's your main interest of horror. How your little poonch was viable to have viable to horror because it's not because you claimed if you had that opinion at any point in time in life as horror that would have been a viable thing of horror. That you called your fat. That's not my issue. You think it's unfair that your fat little crit pussy doesn't cross this place and things of horror, and claims that it was viable that you. It's not because you claim it's about how I treat some little horror sensitive that doesn't. It's not because you keep claiming like that would be a thing as a horror that your little crit pussy or horror would have been good or viable to have you viable to horror and keep calling your fat little cunt viable to horror. It's not about how I respect. It's not because you keep calling your little gooch like that was a thing as a horror. Good or viable ties while I was luck under the horse. Not because you claim that's what it's about the horror, how some little pussy has an opinion on it. It's not because you claim if somebody could claim it was viable that they had an opinion as a whore that would have been a viable thing as a whore. Anybody can claim that it's viable that they had an opinion as a whore because they're an ignorant, unpretending pussy that doesn't seem to grasp one thing for another as a whore. And Clever said it's viable that they have an opinion on somebody's life out of false. Suppose you keep claiming my life does or goes into some other validity that you call reflecting me as a horror. Claim that was ever. So sometimes you keep claiming that your little gooch. That's how my issue. That's how much of a little ignorant pussy you had as a horror. That you want to constantly conspire to. Sometimes you're calling me the issue that's how much of a little. That's not my issue. That's your main interest of horror because you have a lack of boundary little pussy. Because you're a little, it's not because you kept calling like that would be a thing as a whore, a little ignorant puss, like you're cunt or whore, like that would be a thing as whore. That's not my issue. It's not because you keep calling a little wide mouth little pussy or cunt or whore, like your little wide mouth cunt or whore. Good. That's not my issue. That's not really my issue. Your lack of boundary puss. That's not really my issue. Somebody's lack of boundary puss. It's not because you keep calling that my issue. Like it's not because you call that my issue that time and time again as a whore. Your lack of boundary pussy called yourself viable to have be viable to whore. Because that would be a thing as a whore because that's how much of a little ignorant pussy you had as a whore. So sometimes you call that my issue for many years. You stood around my life and conspired to my validity because that's how much of a little ignorant pussy you had because you're a complete and total little whore that seems incessantly confused with me as a little whore. That you stood around my life for many years collaborating with how it was inviolable. Because yet again that's how much of a little. Sometimes you claimed if you collaborated with my validity as a whore that yet again your gooch or whore would have been good or viable. That's not my issue. That's your main interest of horror. Is you act like that. This is up as you claim that would be an